facing the minister, who spotted Tripp's approach before the happy couple did, of course. The old man raised his eyebrows, sighed heavily, and closed the small book he'd been reading the ceremony from with a snap that echoed through the gathering like a bullet ricocheting off cold steel. The guests, briefly dumbstruck, soon began to murmur among themselves. Tripp prepared himself for a row, but once again, no one interfered. Hadleigh, turning her head to follow the preacher's gaze, started when she saw Tripp, standing just a few feet away from her now, his boots splotched with the pink and white rose petals strewn along the aisle. She didn't make a sound, not then at least, but even through the layers of chiffon comprising her veil, Tripp saw Hadleigh's luminous brown eyes widen in surprise. Over the course of the next few seconds, which passed with all the speed of a glacier carving out a new canyon, however, the bride's astonishment gave way to pure feminine fury. She whirled, took a step toward him, and nearly tripped on the hem of that over-the-top dress. This, of course, did nothing to improve her general outlook. Always undaunted, a combat veteran and a man who flew commercial airliners for a living, Tripp realized his heart was hammering, and he felt heat climb up his neck, pulse behind his ears. "Say something," commanded a voice in his head, the voice of his dead best friend, Hadleigh's older brother, Will. Tripp cleared his throat and asked benevolently, "Did I miss the part where the preacher asks if anybody here can give just cause why these two should not be joined together in holy matrimony?" More gasps sounded behind him, followed by a lot of whispering and a few nervous chuckles. But for the time being, these were the least of his concerns. He merely looked straight at the preacher and waited for an answer to his question. Hadleigh's face went apricot pink behind that veil. Her mouth opened and then closed again. It was as if her vocal cords had been tied up in a knot. The Reverend, a balding, rotund man named John Deaver, who raised hogs when he wasn't preaching the gospel, conducting weddings, or teaching shop at Mustang Creek High School 9 months out of the year, had been known to wear bib overalls under his stately ministerial robes during busy times so he could get right back to his farm work without having to change his clothes. "This," Deaver announced, ponderous as a judge, "is highly irregular." Tripp could have sworn he saw a brief twinkle dance in the man's eyes, for all his outward show of disapproval. Oakley Smith, the bridegroom, finally turned around, looking faintly shocked to find himself where he was, in a church surrounded by people, confronted with opposition. He resembled a man who'd been cruelly jolted out of a sound sleep or a coma. As he registered Tripp's presence and what it meant, Oakley's eyes narrowed and a flush appeared on his smooth-shaven face. "What the?" he muttered, then bit back the rest of whatever he'd been about to say. "Because," Tripp went on, in that forceful way people use when they intend to override any argument, operating on the theory that they might all be standing there glowering at each other for the rest of the day if he didn't get things rolling. "It just so happens that I know a reason, and it's a damned good one." Hadleigh, clenching her bridal bouquet in white-knuckled hands, closed the short distance between Tripp and herself in a few purposeful steps, cheeks glowing like neon, eyes flashing whiskey-colored outrage. "What?" she demanded, looking as though she'd gladly have swapped that delicate cluster of pink and white flowers for a loaded pistol. "Do you think you're doing, Tripp Galloway?" "I'm stopping this wedding," Tripp said, deciding Hadleigh's question must have been rhetorical since the answer was so obvious. A short silence throbbed between them.